Guys, today's topic is multi-contexting on ASA firewall. One of the most important topic in your ASA firewall. Okay. So in ASA, we'll understand what are the types of contexts. Okay. After that, we'll see rules. We'll see rules, types, right, and interface level redundancy, and we'll see interface sharing and allocation. These are the upcoming topics. But as of now, we'll try understanding what is exactly multi-contexting on ASA firewall. Okay. So understanding this way, ASA can be divided into multiple virtual firewalls. Okay. So if we have a single hardware, in a single hardware, I can create multiple virtual firewalls. Okay. So understand, let's say this is your ASA hardware. And inside the ASA hardware, I'll create a multiple virtual firewalls. Inside this firewall, we'll create multiple virtual firewalls. These are basically called as a multi-context. Understood? So we basically break our physical hardware into multiple logical firewalls. And this feature is supported only on hardware, not on the virtual firewall. I told you guys from beginning, right? We have ASA, which is called hardware, and we have ASA V, that's a virtual ASA firewall. So this feature multi-contexting does not support on ASA V. It supports only on ASA. Unsupported feature on ASA V. This supports only on hardware. Guys, are you getting my point? Understanding what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So we'll see multi-contexting today. How do we create a multiple virtual firewalls inside the single hardware? Now, in this topic, licensing is very, very important, guys. You have to understand the licensing part, how licenses can be created, right, and be applied to your firewall. Now, why multi-contexting is very important? That's the major point. Why do we need a multi-context? Assume this is our ASA hardware. Assume this is our ASA hardware. And inside this hardware, I have created three contexts. This is 1, 2, and 3. These are the three contexts inside the hardware. Correct? Now I have a multiple customers. I have a customer A, I have a customer B, and I have a customer C. Right? And they are at different sites. They are at the different locations. So instead of creating three hardwares, instead of creating three ASA hardwares, right, I can have a single hardware. I can purchase a single hardware. Inside that single hardware, I can create three contexts and I can assign these each context to each customer, right? Now, what's the benefit of this? Benefit is cost over here. Now, let's say if
Sir,
I
I have
have to,
one doubt.
yeah, tell me.
Sir, here customer one, customer B, and customer C in same building and same network. Yeah, what means different network also.
They can be at a different location, different subnet. They can be in a different, locations, everything. I mean, it's not important that it should be in a same location. Let's say this is my airport client, right? And this is my army client, ABC or XYZ, whatever you say. These are the different clients in a different locations. Let's say this is in Delhi, this is in Pune, right? And this is in Bangalore. Three different locations. I can protect three different location sites with the help of one physical firewall. This physical firewall can be in my DC, in my data center. This can be in my DC. And through this single DC, I can deploy or protect the networks which are in a different location. I can do this. Now you might be thinking, how come your traffic can pass through the firewall? Now all these things can happen through VPN tunnel, right? Through the VPN, I can send the traffic from LAN network, exit through the WAN network. So different sites, different locations can be connected through VPN and they can pass through the firewall and we can control the traffic. So it's not important that all the sites has to be at one place itself. Generally, your mindset will be that I have one hardware single box and that single box is in one location. Let's say this is in Noida location. So you might be thinking that all these customer sites, customer A, customer B, and customer C, they all should be in a Noida location or in one building itself, right? It's not like that, guys. They can
Sir,
be.
sir, the customer in different place. So if you configure the VPN, then all traffic will pass through that VPN only. Means
Yes, we
sub.
can see there are two different ways. Either you can configure it through public IP, but directly communicating through public IP will not be safe, right? So we send the traffic through a VPN, and that VPN will connect between these two sites. Let's say between ASA and this customer site, I might create a tunnel which are in two different locations, and through the tunnel, I might communicate between these sites. Okay. So it happens in a real time, but it's not important that these sites has to be in a different locations only. It can be in a single location, single building as well, but three different subnets or three different customers are there. That way also you can think. But generally, this multi-contexting will be deployed for such customers who are looking as per the business. Now, let's say you are a service provider. Let's say you are Wipro company. Wipro company, right? So Wipro takes a contract of maintenance, giving a services to our customers. And if Wipro has to purchase three hardware firewalls, let's say this is ASA1, ASA2, ASA3. If Wipro has to purchase ASA1 hardware, this is ASA2, again another hardware, this is ASA3, again another hardware. If one hardware costs around 5 lakhs, for example, it means Wipro has to purchase 15 lakhs device. So cost would be 15 lakhs. But at the same time, if Wipro thinks about multi-contexting, if he purchases a single firewall, one ASA hardware, if he purchases one ASA firewall, and inside that they take a license of, let's say, 4 context in the sense this virtual firewall that I can create inside the hardware. Correct. If I take a license of 4 context, so inside this hardware, I can create 4 virtual firewalls. This is called multi-contexting. And this license may cost, let's say, for example, 50K, and this firewall cost is 5 lakhs. So total cost would be 5 lakhs plus 50K, which is actually 5.5 lakh rupees. Now, see the difference where you had to pay 15 lakhs and right now you are paying just 5.5 lakhs. Which is cost saving, guys? Which helps you to save the cost? Multi-contexting
Multi-context.
method.
Yes.
Yes.
Multi.
So this is what any service-based companies will prefer having. Okay. And this multi-contexting concept is in other firewalls as well. Like you have in FTD, you have in FortiGate, you have in Checkpoint, Palo Alto. Every firewall has this multi-contexting, but names are different. Understood? So what we are doing is we are creating multi-context firewall and we'll see how these individual firewalls will work. Now this firewall can have a different policies. This firewall can have a different policy. These firewalls can have a different policies. It will not conflict with each other. Policies are not conflicting with each other, guys. These firewalls will work like a individual firewalls, right? Not as a single firewall. They will work as a individual firewalls. This feature, multi-contexting feature, again I am reminding you, this multi-context feature supports only in a hardware, not in a software-based firewall. Correct? Guys, am I clear till this point, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see. Now, enabling
Sir,
yeah, tell me.
sir, it is related to AWS. Virtual means the Google Cloud one type.
No, virtual is the word that can be used in multiple things. Virtual does not mean that it can be cloud only. Virtual can be anything. Like here I have created EVNG on my VMware. So these devices are virtual devices. These all are virtual devices. Correct. So virtual is the word which can be used with many technologies. It is not only related to cloud. Okay.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank
So
you, sir.
here, yeah, enabling
Sir,
multi-context.
uh, suppose one office required a firewall. So
Mhm.
suppose Cisco ASA firewall required, but he wants virtual only. Then he should connect with Cisco. Then they can provide or what? How the process actually?
Now they need a virtual firewall. It means that is different use case. What you are talking about, let's say there is any site and that site requires a firewall. Correct.
Yes.
So if you are looking for ASAV, then you need a device where you can deploy ASAV. ASAV is a virtual firewall. Correct.
Yes.
This is virtual firewall. Guys, give me a minute. There is someone. I'll pause the recording.
Our office
Yeah, tell me.
our office has a one virtual checkpoint firewall.
Mhm.
So how they deploy it means they connect with the checkpoint vendor and they will deploy in virtual mode. Yeah, they will connect with any cloud support. They will provide that checkpoint firewall or how?
See, in a checkpoint firewall, there also we have multi-contexting part, but they don't call it as a multi-context. It's something like VDOM type of thing that we do inside the checkpoint firewall, but that's similar to your ASA firewall. Here we call it as a multi-context. There we have a different name in the checkpoint firewall. See, technology-wise, whatever you guys are learning here in a ASA, same thing remains in the checkpoint, FortiGate, Palo Alto, but only the names will differ. How we'll configure the things that will also differ, but concept wise it will remain same. So if you understand a technology in one firewall, same thing you can do in the other firewall as well. Okay, you getting my point?
Yes.
Okay, so I was talking about, let's say if you are talking about purchasing a ASA virtual firewall, then how will you deploy it on any particular site? Correct. That was your question.
Yes,
right?
and also means for virtual mode means how we need to connect means their specific vendor, yeah, we will direct connect with the cloud or cloud virtual
See,
support there.
okay, I got your point. See, when I talk about ASAV, first thing, ASAV does not support this feature. If you are taking or purchasing ASA firewall for multi-contexting, then it's not possible. Now, ASAV does not support multi-contexting. I told you at the first
Yes,
time itself. Now, if you want ASA firewall to deploy for translation or for other purposes, if you are using, then ASAV has to get deployed on ESXi server. Understood? There are multiple servers. On that server, you have to create a virtual machine, and that virtual machines will work as an individual firewall. See, ASAV can be deployed on cloud also. It can be deployed on Amazon Cloud, Azure Cloud, Google Cloud, right? So ASAV are only deployed on the clouds, or you can have your own personal cloud. You can purchase a server. In this server you can deploy these firewalls. ASAV does not come with the hardware. It's a virtual. V means virtual, right? For example, here I have VMware. In a VMware, I have created multiple virtual firewalls, right? So where are these virtual devices installed? It is installed in my VMware. Understood? Same way, in a real time also, you'll have one hardware. Inside the hardware, you'll install virtual operating system. Such virtual operating systems are nothing but called as ESXi, or it can be Proxmox operating systems. These are operating systems. Like you have a Windows operating system, right? Same way, we have ESXi or Proxmox operating systems under which we install this type of virtual firewalls. But understand, right now I am not discussing about ASAV. Understood? I am not discussing about ASAV. No. What I am discussing is I have a hardware firewall,
we need to
and
create multi-context.
correct. Inside that, we have to create the multi-context. Guys, give me a minute. Okay. So, guys, let's understand the steps that are used to create a multi-contexting. The first step is to enable multi-context mode inside the ASA firewall. We have to create multi-context mode, and then we have to configure classes or resource management, but this is optional. This is optional. Understood? So this part will skip. Configure interfaces into a system, execution space, configure security context, and so on. Right? We'll talk about MAC address assignment. We'll see the complete interfaces configuration with the multi-context. These are the tasks that we have to do. Now, in ASA multi-context, we have basically three types of contexts. Okay. So here we have system context, admin context, and we have user defined context. These are the three type of contexts in your ASA firewall. Keep in mind there are total three type of contexts. So one is system context. So what does a system context do? All changes are done in a single or in this particular context, you can say. So anything that you have to modify, if you have to do modification in an admin context, or if you have to do, or if you have to create a user context, you have to do it from system context itself. So what is system context? How do we configure from system context? Everything we'll see in our practical. Okay. So step by step, let me show you everything. First of all, in EVNG, I'll take ASA hardware. So this is ASA, which is hardware. Okay. And inside this ASA, I'll take three different interfaces, or we can say four interfaces we can take. Let me first of all take Windows, or you can say this is my management PC. Okay. Now, you have to understand logical topology, guys. Okay. Logical and physical topology. There are two types of topologies you need to understand. Understand this part. This is what I'll configure it right now. This type of configuration, I'll do it. Okay. Here, this part is your ASA hardware. This is your ASA hardware, this part. Understood? And inside this part, we have multiple types of contexts. We have system context, we have admin context, we have sales context. We have sales context, we have mark context, different type of contexts are there. So this sales context and mark contexts, these two contexts are actually called as a user defined context. This I'll be creating, user will be creating, but this system context is by default present. Admin context is by default present. This no one is creating, it's by default present. Okay. So this is our physical ASA firewall. So same way, here I have taken one physical ASA firewall. This is my physical ASA firewall. This is physical ASA firewall. Now, this physical ASA firewall is connected with one interface that is called E1 interface, connected with my PC, okay, for management purpose. See, here in ASA firewall, I don't have management interface, okay, but in a real time, in a real hardware, there will be management interface. Here, assume we don't have. Understood? Assume we don't have. So we'll make another interface as a management interface. So here I'll take 6 interfaces or 8 interfaces, as much as you want, you can increase. And here I'll connect my firewall with E1 interface, E1 interface. As per my topology, here E1 interface I have connected. So connect it with E1 interface. Okay. Inside this ASA, I'll create two contexts, cells and mark context, correct? I'll use one ASA, sorry, I'll use one R1 to cells context. I'll use R2 to other context, right? But they all are connected with E0 interface itself. So here I'll take one switch, take one switch. This is my LAN switch. And this LAN switch is connected with E0 interface, E0. See here, E0, E0. Now, how come here I have two interfaces, two E0? That I'll talk or discuss you guys later. Right now, here you see one interface we have connected E0, And here I'll take two routers. I'll take two routers. Here I'll connect R1 and this is R2. And I'll connect this interface. Okay. See, here it looks like one router, another router, both connected to a same switch, both traffic passing through a same interface to a one single firewall. This is how it looks, physical connection. This is physical connection. But logically, it will work in this way. Okay. I mean, this single interface I'll configure for two different contexts, one for sales, another for marketing. That will be internally done. Externally, it looks like it is working as a single firewall interface, but internally, I'll configure in that particular way. Okay, so I was talking about internally, we'll have a sales context, mark context. Their traffic will pass through single physical interface. It's not like we have two E0 interfaces. No, it's like single interface, but I'll split that single interface with two different contexts. Okay. Physically, it's on. Physically, it's one interface, but I'll split them into two different firewalls. Virtual firewalls, virtual context or multi-context. So this is how it will be connected. Now here I have one DMZ. Okay. Here I have another DMZ. One DMZ will be connected with sales context. Another DMZ will be connected with a mark context. Right. So here I have taken E2 interface. Here I have taken E4 interface. And I have a outside. So outside is again connected with one interface. E3, single interface, but connecting with the two different contexts. So I can split one interface into multiple contexts. Okay, that I can do. So let me do all these connections quickly. Here I'll take two more routers, three more routers. Okay, sorry. So let's say this is my R3 firewall. Sorry, router R3. This is for DMZ. I'll connect this with E2 interface. E2. This belongs to cells. Let me write name here. This is cells. Cells context. I need one more router. Let me take two routers here. Later I'll write a name. Here I need one more router. We'll name it as R4. And this is our DMZ for mark context. Okay. Marketing context, I gave a name as a mark. And here, this is my outside, you know, wait, check the interface. Here I have taken E4 and here I have taken E3, right? So I'll disconnect this. I'll connect this router, outside router with E3 interface, and mark I'll connect with E4 interface as per the picture. So this is my outside router. Out R5. Okay, outside R5. So this is how physical connections are done. Let me start all these devices.
Sir, maximum how many multi-context we can create in a
That
single?
Yeah, that depends on license and the model number. Okay, it differs. It is not same for all the firewalls. So in this particular model number, based on the current license, how many context can be created, that we can see. Okay, so it totally depends on your model number of the firewall and the license that you purchase. Okay, let's say,
Yes.
for example, I have 5525 model number. It supports like 50 contexts, right? It supports 50 contexts, but you have taken a license. Your license supports only 20 contexts. It means out of 50, I can create only 20 contexts. Why? Because my license allows me to create how many contexts? 20 contexts only. But what is the capacity of the firewall? How many context capacity do we have? We have 50 context capacity, right? But my license will limit it for how many contexts? 20 contexts only. So model number supported how many contexts, and your license having how many contexts. All these three things will matter depending on the model to model. It is not same in all the firewalls. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let this firewall come up. After that, I'll show you. I'll open Notepad. So here we are doing new chapter today, multi-context. Your firewall is booting as of now. Let this complete. Now, three things we'll check, guys. Okay, we'll check model number and we'll check license, right? And we'll say number of contexts. We'll see all these things. So all these informations you can see in a single command. If you give a single command, right? Like so version, in this single command, you can see all these informations. Now let's execute command show version. So guys, this is continuation of ASA multi-contexting. So we had seen a command show version where we could see which model number of our ASA firewall we have, and for security context we have 20 context licenses for 364 days, and the license that we have on this firewall is ASA 5520 VPN plus license. Okay, so I can create total 20 contexts in my firewall, but before that you can check. So firewall mode, it is acting as a layer 3 device as a router mode, and you can say so security so mode, not security context, say so mode. So when you give this command so mode, you'll see your firewall is in a multiple mode. Okay, yesterday we had converted into a multiple mode, and how did we do that? Let me convert as a single mode. So if I say mode single, if I give a mode single, then your firewall will reboot and it will get into a single mode. So from yesterday's class, I'm asking other guys, okay, uh, what do you mean by mode multiple? Yesterday I had told you guys about mode multiple. What exactly mode multiple means? Yesterday I told you guys in a class. What happens, or what do you mean by mode multiple? Tell me, guys. Yesterday I told you in a class. What do you mean by mode multiple? Alan, Biswaraj, Kush, Nirul, Subrato, tell me, guys. What do you mean by mode multiple?
Mode multiple means when we create a multi-context in hardware.
Correct. Go ahead. When you create a multi-context in a ASA hardware firewall, then you have to make security context mode as a multiple. Okay. By default, security context mode is single, and single means you can have only a single firewall, you can't have multiple firewalls. Okay. So here, right now I'm rebooting my firewall. Let it come up. After that, we'll check the firewall mode again. See, by default, I'll write it down. By default means you're not making any changes. Okay, factory default. By default, what are the modes of the firewall? There are two modes. One is firewall mode. So by default, firewall mode is router, which means it will act as a layer 3. And we have another mode called as a security context mode, which means you'll have by default as a single. Single means you can use firewall as a single firewall, not as a multi-context. So what we'll do for multi-context, I need firewall as a layer 3, but security context mode should be multiple. Okay. Now, to check these two modes, you can give commands like show firewall. It will show you it's in a firewall mode as a router. Okay, you can give this command. And to check the security context mode, you can say show mode. Show mode. And here you can see By default, your ASA firewall will be acting as a single context, single firewall, which means your firewall is acting as a single firewall, not as a multiple firewall. You can't create multi firewalls over here. Okay. So if you want to create multiple virtual firewalls in a hardware, you need to put a security context mode as a multiple. You need to convert it into security context mode as a multi. Okay. So multi mode, you can say multi mode. So how do we do that? You go to configure terminal and say mode multiple. And when you change this mode multiple, your firewall will reboot. So you have to give this command mode multiple, and you have to reboot your firewall. Now you can create multiple layer 3 firewalls. How did I know multiple layer 3 firewalls? Because my firewall mode is router. It means I can create multiple. Now who is connected with name of knee over here? Who is this knee?
Uh, yeah, the same person. My phone went off, so
Okay.
I'm using my laptop now.
No problem. So here we have a firewall as a layer 3 mode and multi-context as a multiple mode. So I can create multiple layer 3 firewalls now. So as per my topology, guys, as per my topology, if you see here, as per my topology, I need two multi-contexts, cells and mark. Okay. But there are two default contexts which are already present. One is system context. This system context, you can't see. You can't see, but it's there. Admin context is there. Okay. And you can see, you can edit, you can remove, and you can recreate. Everything can be done for admin context. So in your firewall, by default, you have these two contexts. Okay. You have a system context and you have an admin context, but system context you can't see. Right. Now, here your firewall is rebooted now and coming into a multiple mode. If you check your firewall, so mode, it will show you your firewall context mode is multiple. And how many multiple contexts I can create, that you can check out with a license. I can say show version, and in show version I can see I can create 20 multi contexts. Okay. So 20 user defined. Okay, user defined. Under the 20, system context does not come, admin context does not come. So you can create 20 contexts like sales, marketing, finance. Similarly, you can create multiple contexts up to 20 as per the current firewall license. Now, let me show you admin context and system context and admin context. So when you come to a firewall, when I say show context, you see by default I have a admin context, and admin context is known by asterisk mark. If you see this asterisk mark, it means that's your admin context. Okay. And remember one thing, guys, admin context is mandatory. Okay. Without admin context, you can't create any user defined context. So admin context is mandatory. If you have admin context, then you can create sales or marketing context. So what is admin context? Why admin context is important? See, admin context is also working like a virtual firewall, but admin context has a special privilege. Okay, special privilege in the sense this user can enter your firewall in a multiple mode, and he can jump into sales context, he can jump into market context and do the configuration. And this privilege only admin context has, not the other contexts. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, if you see here, under the admin context, no interfaces allocated. And why do we need an admin context? We need admin context for management purpose. I'll manage my firewall remotely. Like from here remotely, I'll take access to a firewall, and from this admin context, I'll jump into sales or any other user defined context to manage. Right. So here you guys can see you have interfaces list, but in this admin context, no interfaces are allocated. So as per our diagram, as per our topology, I will allocate any interface. Now that interface here I have given E1. Allocate E1 interface inside admin context. Guys, are you understanding what is context that I am discussing right now?
Yes, admin context.
So what do you mean by admin context?
Admin is a super root. He can handle every context. And by the admin context, we can handle each and every context.
Okay, that is fine. But I'm asking what is context itself? Because I just want to know that you guys have understood this concept or not. What do you mean by context? What is context here? What is context? Admin context, system context, user defined context, right? We are discussing context. But what is context?
Firewall.
It's a virtual firewall. Inside the hardware, we are creating virtual firewall. Okay. So when I say admin context is by default, that you can say it's a virtual firewall. And through this virtual firewall, I can take a remote access of your firewall in multiple mode, and I can create multiple contexts. So let me configure. So first of all, I'll allocate this interface E1 and I'll configure IP address 10.11.11.100. Let me do this. So here I see no interfaces allocated. So I'll come here, I'll say host name ASA. I'll enter into an interface E1. Before I enter, I'll check so interface IP brief. I can see all interfaces are in a down state. Okay. So which interfaces we are using right now? Right now I'm using E1 interface. So first of all, go to interface E1 and say no shut. Just give no shut command. Now you will see, so interface IP brief, I have E1 interface which is up now. So step by step, as I'm telling you, We'll configure host name and then we'll go for no shut interface E1. Okay. So what we are doing right now, we are trying to configure admin context. So what is the use of admin context? Use of admin context is to take a remote access and manage user defined contexts. So with the help of admin context, I'll access firewall and then I'll manage user defined contexts. I'll create or manage, you can say, create or manage user defined context. So first of all, I'm allocating E1 interface to admin context. Okay. I want to allocate E1 interface to admin context. So how do you allocate? First of all, check the context. So context. I can see I have a admin context. I have admin context, but it does not have any interface over here. No interfaces. So we'll allocate interface. So I'll say context admin, and inside this I'll say allocate interface E1. Now as soon as I give this command and check the context, so context, you will see E1 interface is now a part of admin context, right? So history. Now I went into admin context, allocated interface, and now I can verify here by giving command show context, and I can see E1 context is allocated to admin context. E1 interface is allocated to admin context, right? Now I'll get into admin context. Inside admin context, I want to go. So through console here, you'll say context. No, you'll say change to context admin. Now guys, one thing you'll notice here. Now here I'm having ASA and here I'm having admin. So right now I'm inside which firewall, which context? I'm inside admin context. Now if I say change to context system, you will see you are not inside any context. You are not inside admin. You are out of admin, only ASA. So if you are in ASA, only in a ASA, this is called system context. This is called system context. Okay. So in a system context, you are not inside any context. This is called system context. Now I'll say get inside get inside admin context. Now if I get inside admin context, so you'll give a command change to context admin, and you see you are inside admin context. Now, inside admin context, how many interface we have allocated, guys? Inside admin context, how many interfaces we have allocated?
E1
E1
interface.
interface. So
Just one.
now if you check, so interface IP brief, I can see only E1 interface. Why only E1 interface, guys? Why I can see only one interface?
because you
Because
because change the
you
app.
allocate this interface on admin context.
Okay. But if I want to see all interfaces, then where should I go?
To change
System context.
to change the system context.
Correct. Now, if I say change to system, you see, you are in a system context. So interface IP brief. Here I can see all interfaces because these are part of system context. But if I want to see dedicatedly only admin context, so I have to get inside that firewall. So I'll say change to context admin, and inside admin we have allocated E1 interface. So you'll find only one interface, that is E1. So interface IP brief. Now this is like a individual firewall. Now I'm working inside the firewall, I'm working inside another firewall. Okay, suppose this is your ASA firewall. Inside ASA firewall, I have admin firewall. Okay, I have admin firewall. So in a technical language, we don't say firewall, we call it as a context. So we are in a context, admin context. So technically it's a firewall, it's a virtual firewall. You can say it's a virtual firewall, virtual context, or you can also call it as a firewall. So inside physical firewall, I have created the virtual firewall. This is what the admin context is. And here I want to take a remote access from this PC to this firewall. I want to take a remote access. And to take a remote access, I have to configure this E1 interface with the IP address 10.11.11.100. So let's see. Let's configure.
Sushil, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to know when you check show context. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We are seeing just admin context. Why system context did not appear on hardware's is ASA?
Okay. See, what happens is when I talk about system context is invisible. It's there, but you can't see. So when you say change to context system, now here it is not showing you any context. So context, if you give a command, you don't see somewhere written as a system. You have to understand, you have to feel that. When you are inside any context, it will show you ASA / name of that context. And if you are not inside any context, then it will just show you as a ASA. So it's your thinking, it's your understanding that you have to understand. Right now I'm in a I'm in a system context, not in a admin context, or not in a sales context or mark context. See guys, this sales context or a mark context, these two contexts we have to create it. It's a user defined. When I create, it becomes user defined, right? That's why we'll see how to create this sales context or a mark context by taking remote access in a multiple mode. So let's do it. Alan, did you understand system context and admin context?
Yes, yes, Uga. That one is right.
Okay, thank you. Now I'll get into change to context admin. I'm in admin context. Interface E1, name if mgmt, and for management, always try to put security label 100, highest security label, with IP address 10.11.11.100. I mentioned subnet mask 24, so gives subnet mask as a 24 over here. One minute. And say exit. So history, and here I can see I went into admin context, right? I said change to context admin. Now I'm inside the admin context, and then I configured interface with security label and IP. So once it is configured, I can check it. So name if, and so interface IP brief. I can see this IP. Now let's go to PC. Oh, this PC is having some problem. Let me wipe it out. Wipe is like you're resetting your device and start it. Okay, I'll open this PC, and you can see this PC is starting now. So I'll just allocate 10.11.11.100. I have given IP for management. Okay, this IP I configured here at E1, and at PC I'll configure .5. Done. Now here from PC to this IP, I'll ping and check whether I have a reachability or not. Now let's go to PC. Let the PC come up. I'll log in here with test123. And let's configure IP. ncpa.cpl. and I'll configure IP address inside the PC. .11.11.5 with the subnet mask 24. Say okay, okay. I'll restart later and I'll try to ping.
You got your default gateway, sir.
I don't have to give gateway because both are from same subnet. So I'll say ping 10.11.11.100 and I can see I have reachability. Now let us take access for telnet or SSH. You won't have by default access. If you try 10.11.11.100 taking access, it will not give you access. No access. Reason? In ASA you have to give the permission. So you can say telnet should be accessible to 10.11.11.0/24 subnet through management zone. Right. And here you have to say AAA authentication for telnet using console and local database. And here you have to create a username as an admin with the password as Cisco and privilege as a 15. Right. So take all these commands. After giving this command, I can telnet my firewall from management interface. Right. So go to management PC and take telnet access to a firewall. Now taking remote access 10.11.11.100. Username admin, password Cisco. And yes, I'm into a firewall. I have taken remote access to a firewall. Okay, so let me enlarge the fonts over here. So I can see I'm inside your your ASA firewall through telnet session. Okay, through telnet session. I'm in a firewall. Now, the ability of your admin context. Okay. So now I took a telnet access to admin, and from admin, I can get into system context. And from system context, I can create cells and mark. This is the process. So here, first of all, go to configure terminal and say change to context system. Now I'm in a system context. Now, this privilege, this task which I did right now, from admin context, I came to system context. This thing is not possible in cells. You can't get from, cells context to system context. Not possible, guys. So that's a reason why you are having admin context specially mentioned in a firewall. Admin context is especially used for management purpose. It has a privilege. It can get into system context. It can get into cells context. It can create cells context if it is not there. It can create it. That much capacity or a privilege your admin context has. So if I check right now, so context, I have only one context. So I'll give a command, show context. Show context. And I can see I have only one context, and it will be saved inside my flash memory. My flash memory is also called as a disk over here, and it will be saved with admin.cfg. This is backup, and extension is .cfg configuration file. Okay. So guys, this is how you take a remote access through remote to your firewall, which is in multiple mode, So you can say show mode, and you can say it is in multiple mode. Guys, did you understand how to take a remote access to a physical hardware which is in multiple mode? Then through the help of admin context, how can you take a remote access of telnet, and how can you jump into system context? Is this clear, guys? Till this point, am I clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir, privilege 15 means, sir,
Sorry?
privilege 15 you mentioned, you wrote there, privilege 15. What is that 15, sir?
Privilege 15 means highest level of authority. Okay. So when I say any user that you have privilege of 15, it means this user can execute anything on the firewall. He can execute any command, anything in the sense, any command. He can execute any command on the firewall. This
Okay,
is
sir.
what it means. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now guys, see, right now I'm accessing ASA firewall with two things. See here. I'm accessing firewall through two things. This is console. Two things. This is called console. This is called console access. This is my remote access via telnet. And this is my console access. Console access means what? Physical access. Right. Now, I guess all of you guys are aware of what is console access and what is remote access. In CCNA, CCNP, your trainers might have taught you what is telnet
Yes.
access and what is console access.
Yes.
So for the first time, when you purchase a firewall, new firewall, you can get only console access. You can't take remote access, right? So
Yes.
through console, CLI access, console means CLI access. And through CLI access, I configured a remote, and later I was able to take telnet access. So this is how it worked. Now it's time to create user defined context. So I have told, let's say my company told me, create two more firewalls inside the hardware ASA. Create sales firewall and create mark firewall. And for sales firewall, use E0 interface, E2 interface, and E3 interface, 3 interfaces, right? So first of all, what I'll do, now I have to configure cells context. So I need interface. Now here, first of all, I'll say change to context system, because admin context will have only admin authorities. Okay. Now I came to system context, and here I'll say which interface, E0, E2, and E3. Interface E0, no shutdown. Interface E2, no shutdown. And directly I can say interface E3 and say no shutdown. And now you can see, so interface IP brief, I have how many interfaces? I have total these 3 interfaces in no shutdown state, right? Now let me create cells context. So from console I'm creating, I'll say context cells created. Now this is my second number of context. I'll say allocate interface E0, allocate interface E2, allocate interface E3, and to save the configuration, I'll say config URL, and I'll save the name with cells.cfg. If you give this command, automatically it will save your configuration into disk file. Disk is nothing but your flash file. Okay. Now if you say show running context, now you will see I have cells context with 3 interfaces and a configuration file. Okay. So like this, I created a second context, which is called user defined. I created. Admin context was by default there. It was system defined. I created another context called as a cells. I created. That's why I call it as a user defined context. So as I already told, user defined context. Okay. This is actual partition of the firewall. Okay. I told you 20 firewalls I can create. So I can create user defined firewalls, 20 user defined firewalls. I created one right now based on security context number, as I told you. Okay. So I created cells context. Now let me take this configuration. Now same way I can copy this. I'll make a small change. Now we'll create mark context. Create mark context. So I'll say context mark. Inside the marketing context, I have E0, E4, E3, 3 interfaces over here. So I'll say, I'll make an interface E0, I have E4 and I have E3, and this file name where I'll save the configuration, I'll give a name as a mark.cfg. Okay. Now simply copy this file, this syntax and paste it here. Done. Very simple. Now if you say so running context, now here you will see we have admin context, sales context, mark context with their interfaces. Okay. Now here we have used E4. So I'll say interface E4 and give no cert command. No cert command. So whenever we are using any interface, you have to ensure that interface is in a no cert state in a system context. Right now I'm in a system context. So interface IP brief, I can see all interfaces here. Now one by one, let's get into all the context. Check all contexts. We'll check all the contexts over here. Now here, if you see, let's jump into all the context. I'll say change to context. Change to context. Admin, you're in admin context. Change to context cells. Now it says here this is not valid, this name. Guys, be very careful. You have to see how you have given the name. If you have given in a capital letter, then you have to follow capital letter. If you have given in a small letter, you have to follow small letter. Change to context cells. Now I'm in a cells context. Change to context mark. It says nothing like that. So how was mark written? In a small letter mark. So I'll say change to context mark. I'm in a mark context. So earlier I was in system, then I went into admin, and then I went into sales, and then I went into marketing. Had seen how to create a context. So as I earlier told you, there are 3 types of contexts. Okay. So if I say so running context over here, right. Oh, I guess I forgot to give a write command yesterday. I can see only the admin context and admin context allocated with your Ethernet 1 interface, right? Now, when I say change to context, change to context admin, when I say, and here if I check, so interface IP brief, the interface wasn't, it's not configured yet over here. Yesterday we had configured, but I believe I lost all those configurations because I didn't save the configuration. I didn't give the right memory all command over here. No worries, we have backup with us. So we'll go to change to system. Now we are back to system context over here, right? And yesterday, you see we created our admin context. I had shown you guys, we configured our admin context, right? And we also created, right, this was our admin context. We configured this telnet privilege, everything we had configured yesterday. So if I say change to context admin, right, I can easily copy and paste all these configurations, and you can see. So interface IP brief, interface is configured. So name if, right, and management interface is configured over here. So this is what we had configured yesterday. Now let me get back to change to context system, you can say. So what was the purpose of management interface or admin context? That I had already cleared in yesterday's class, guys, right? So today through system context, through console itself, I'm doing a configuration. Sorry. Asking me, guys? Okay. So here I'll create my user defined contexts, okay, like cells, and I'll allocate all the interfaces and also config URL. These configurations we had done yesterday itself, guys, right? Again, I'll take all these configurations. I'll copy and paste it over here. Now we can see so running context, and we can see here cells has 3 interfaces allocated here, and with config destination, and also interfaces allocated to the mark context with the configuration where it will get saved, right? So URL config has been configured over here. Now here we can jump into individual contexts. Now guys, if you want to save the configuration over here, so you need to say write memory all. Don't give only write command. If you just give a write command, it won't save all the context information. Like if you say so flash, here you can see only admin config has been saved, right? Not the cells or the mark context, configurations. So if you guys are going for CCIE Security lab examinations, then you have to ensure that you execute this command in a system context. You'll give write memory all. So once you give this command, you can see your sorry guys, admin context, cells context, and mark context. These 3 contexts has been saved now. Now if you say so flash, I can see admin, cells, and mark 3 contexts has been saved. CFG files are saved in the flash, right? This is what you have to do at the end of task in your CCIE lab examination as well, or in a real time as well. This is how you save it. So as per the topology, guys, as per our logical topology, what we had decided that in a cells context, which is user defined context, we created it. It wasn't by default. By default, we had system context, which is not visible, but it's there. And we had an admin context, which we used for remote access purpose. We had seen yesterday all the practicals of admin context. Right. Now, yesterday we also created cells or the mark user defined context. Now, you can understand that internally or logically, we have 2 different firewalls over here, including admin context. You can say 3 firewalls, 3 contexts over here, right? So with sales context, I have 3 interfaces over here. So I'll jump into sales context and I'll configure the interfaces as per our diagram, right? So let me get into firewall and here I'll jump into change to context and we'll say sales. Now here you can see the contexts. So running context, and name is very case sensitive, guys, okay? So here file name was given in a capital letter, but context name was given in a small letter. So this is what you have to say, right? Change to context, sales over here. Now you are in a sales context, and here you can say so interface IP brief. Now remember one thing, here inside the context, if it shows you that interface status are down, it means in system context, you haven't given nor shut command inside your firewall. So we can go to change to system. Also, you can say directly this command can be used only for system context, guys. You don't have to say change to context system. Directly you can say change to system, right? So interface IP brief, if you see, few interfaces are up, few are not up. So I'll say interface like E0, no shut, interface E2, no shut, interface E3, no shut, interface E4. I'll say no shut. These are the usable interfaces. Now, if I say interface and press the question mark, here I don't have a range command, guys. That's why I haven't taken a range command over here. Now, if I say so interface IP brief, I see till fifth interface, E5 interface, I haven't used E4, or let me check. Yeah, E5 interface we haven't used. E3, E4, E2, right? You can see here E0, E1, E2, E3, E4 interfaces are only used, right? So till E4 I have given no shut. Now jump into cells and you will see your cells context interfaces will be up. Now if you see, so interface IP brief, your interface status are up now. So this is how they are interrelated with each other. Okay, guys, am I to
Sushil,
this?
please.
Yeah.
Okay. On sales context, okay, we are not able to perform no shot.
See, in cells context, I can give shut and no shut command. Okay, when you say no shut, that will not make the interfaces up if your interface is down from system context itself. Understand this part, Ellen, properly. Now see here. This is E0 interface. I'll say interface E0 and I'll say shut over here. See, so interface IP brief, here it shows interface is down. But is it a down for entire firewall or it is down only for cells context? Let's see that. Change to system. And here if I say, so interface IP brief, here E0 interface is up, but for cells context, E0 interface is down. It means what? Shutting down the interface was individual choice of your context, right? It was the individual choice of your context. It wasn't globally shut down. Now, let me go to cells context and I'll go to the interface E0 and I'll say no shut over here. Now check, so interface IP brief. Here it shows interface is up. Okay, fine. Now let me go to change to system. Let me go to system context. We are in a system context and here I'll say E0. And if I shut down here from system context, I have given shut command. So interface IP brief. Here I can see interface is administratively down given here. Alan.
I get you, boss. Awesome.
Okay. Now here I have administratively down given interface. Okay, I have given shutdown command to an interface in a system context. See, we are in a system context right now. Now go to cells context. Now go to cells context. So interface IP brief. Here interface shows down. Earlier it was showing administratively down. Here it is showing administratively down and here it is just showing down. So in a cells, if you go to interface E0 and if you give no shut command here, no shut, check the interface again, it will remain down itself. Why? Why, Alan? Are you getting my point, what I'm saying?
Yes.
So if it is down, even after giving no shut command, it will not make any sense. But if you want to shut down, that is fine. So I'll go to change to system and here I'll go to interface E0 and say no shutdown. So overall, globally, I said it, no shut. Now, if you go to particular context and then check, so interface IP Brave, here it shows up now. So it is impacted by system context. Okay.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep. Anyone else? Jordan? Okay.
All set, sir. Thank you.
Okay, fine, thanks. Harmit, am I getting well to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, fine.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this is how we entered into a cells, guys, and we saw what is the impact of global configuration and the individual configuration of your interfaces, right? Now I want to configure cells context for inside, outside and DMZ. Let's do that. I'll say interface E0 and I'll say name if inside IP address 10.0.1.10 I have currently given and give subnet mask as 24 and say no shut. No shut. Right. Interface, I would say E2, right? And I'll say name if DMZ, give security level as a 50 and give IP address as you can see here 192.168.30.10 will take 192.168.30.10. No need to give subnet mask because 192 belongs to class C. Even no shut command is not required. Now we'll go to interface. We'll go to interface E3 and say name if outside, right? IP address 100.1.1 dot or let's say 100.5 sorry 10. Here we have taken 10. Now this is not a part of class C, so to make it a /24 we'll give /24 over here, right? So that's how I gave all the interfaces. So interface IP brief configured, so name if configured, right? So once we see all these interfaces are configured, we are good over here. Okay. Now I'll take the commands. So history, this is we have done. I'll take this. CCIE Security Examination Prospective. This deployment is VVI, very, very important. Okay. In your lab exam, this particular task is of 3 marks. 3 to 4 marks you'll get in a lab exam. Okay. Because in examination, they won't give you only multi-contexting. They will give you ACL, they'll give you translation included in a single task. Multiple things will be included. So we configured this. I'll give a save command. Now guys, copy all these configurations and paste it over here and make context config of cells. This was for cells and this is what we are going to make now. Okay, wait, this was for cells. Now we have copied it and we'll make it for mark. So here check the name of mark context change to context mark. Okay, we are in a mark context given in a small letter itself. So I have written mark here. Now make this simple configuration, guys. Sim mark. Okay. So in a mark, what type of interfaces we have? See in the topology, we have E0. So we have shared interface E0, E0 here. Okay, shared interface. Now what happens with the shared interface, that I'll tell you later. Right now understand. Here I need E0 interface as 2.10. Okay, 2.10 DMZ we have E4. So make it E4. And here I'll give IP 40.10. So make it 40. And at the outside we have E3 interface. And here IP we have 101. Right. So make this a small change. Do it smartly. Simply copy and paste, and you'll see your mark context is configured. Right. So interface IP brief. So name if, and I can see it's configured. Guys, if you give a write command here, it will save configuration only for mark. So don't do like this. You're not recommended to do a write command. I mean, you're not recommended to configure a write command individually inside the context. Go to system and say write mem all. This is how you save the entire configurations to your flash. Now guys, we have configured inside DMZ, outside, inside DMZ, outside for all the contexts. I mean both of the contexts, right? Now it's time to configure R1, R3 and R5. Let's configure it. So I'll configure R1, enable configure terminal, host name, right, R1, interface. Guys, give me a minute. I have a call. Just a minute. Sorry, guys. So here I give R1 interface G0 by 0. Okay. Here I have interface G0 by 0. You can see in a topology, right? So I'll configure IP address 10.0.1.1 with mask of 24. And I'll say no shut. I'll give a default route towards my gateway, and my gateway is .10. Here we can see my gateway is .10. So I'll take this IP and give it here as a gateway. Okay. So this was R1 configuration, guys. Let me take console of all these routers. R1, R2, R3, R4, R5. Okay. Let all the routers come up, guys. So we have R1 here. I'll take this configuration. I'll paste it here. R2. For R2, what IP we have to take 10.0.2.2. So we'll make it 10.0.2.2 here and 2.10 as a gateway. Now take this command, paste it on R2. Done. Now similarly, I'll take R3. Make it 192.168.30.3. 30.10 as an IP gateway. I'll give R4. You can see this is R4 and R4 we have 40.0. So we'll make it as a 40.4 as an IP. This is R4. And we have 40.10 as a gateway here, right? So let's take this command for R3. Enable configure terminal. Oh, this router is having some issue, guys. We have to wipe it out. So I'll quickly come here. I'll wipe out.
Sir,
Yep.
sir, I have a question.
Yeah, tell me.
Router 3, just IP address, please show the right router 3, sir, IP address 192.168.30.1.
30.3 I have taken. Based on the router number, I have taken the IP. Okay. This
Okay,
is
okay.
R3. So .3. This is R4.4. This is R1.1.
Okay,
R2.
okay.
Like this, I have taken the IP addresses. Okay.
But sir,
Tell me.
sir, so different network so different. 19 R3 network has different network. R2 different network.
Definitely, they have to be in a different networks, right? We have two different interfaces. So we are taking two different subnets over here. What is meaning of L3? So for DMZ R3, we have taken 30.3 different subnet, and for DMZ R4, we have taken 40.0, two different
Okay,
subnet.
sir. Understand. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Okay.
So both the routers were not working fine, guys. So I have just wiped out and we'll take the console again. Meanwhile, let's see the configuration for R5. Oh, why? Let me wipe out this as well. These two routers worked fine. What happened with these two routers? I mean, other routers. It should work now. Let the devices come up, guys. Let these three routers come up, guys. R4, R5, all these three routers are coming up. Meanwhile, I'll make a config file for R5. Okay, so I'll just copy this, paste it over here, make it R5. And here I'll make it 100.0.100.5. I'll not give a default route over here because I have two different destinations, and here we can apply translation if we need. Okay. Right now I'll use it only for a reachability purpose. Okay. Almost devices are up now. R3, R4. Let's see. Okay, now it worked. So let's take configuration of all the devices. R3. We'll take R4. And we'll take R5. Okay. So now we are done with all these configurations, guys. Okay. Now it's time to test reachability from each context. Understand, from cells, I'll check inside DMZ, outside reachability. So let's jump into cells context. Guys, till now, whatever I have done, is that okay with you guys? All of you? Is that fine?
Yes, for me.
Okay. Now I'll get into change to context cells. In a cells context, I'll try to ping inside router 10.0.1.1 reachable. I'll ping 192.168.30.3 DMZ reachable, and I'll ping 192 dot, sorry, 100.0.100.5 outside router. Okay. So interface IP brief. Sorry, here we have given 100.1 command, 100.1 IP. Oh, okay. So running interface E3, I just have to modify this IP address, guys, okay? I'll say interface E3. I was supposed to give 0 over here. I'll make a modification in your notepad as well. So it was supposed to be 0. A habit of notepad will help you in examination, okay? So try to ping now, and you see you have a reachability, okay? So this way we check the reachability from cells to all the devices working fine. Now let's jump into change to context mark, and from here also we'll check a reachability to all the devices inside outside DMZ. Ping 10.0.2.2, okay. Ping 192.168.40.4, fine, and we'll ping 100.0.100.5. Okay, here also there might be a mistake. So we'll say 0. I'll quickly replace it. Now ping .5. Yes, it's working now. So that's how. Now we can see, guys, we have complete reachability from cells to all the directions and from mark to all the directions. Now here it is working as an individual context. Okay, guys, 1 minute. Okay. Okay. So now these are reachable. Everything looks fine. And we are almost done with multi-contexting. But there is one catch. Let me explain you that. In examination, in CCIE lab exam, this will be a twist. Right? So you guys have to understand this particular part. Now understand, guys. Here, E1 interface, right? This has been shared with two different contexts internally, but physically it's only one, right? It's only one. Now see the problem, what will happen. Now I'm in a MARC context, and if I want to see MAC address of E0, I mean E0 interface, not E1, E0 interface. If you see E0 interface, so running interface E0, sorry, so interface E0. You see, this is the MAC address in E0. Take a notepad and check out here. So this is MARC context E0 interface having MAC address, this one. Now let's jump into change to context cells. So history, let me take the last thing that we did. So we tried pinging from cells and the mark context. This is what we had done earlier. So we pinged all this. So we went into both the contexts and we pinged and everything was fine. Now last thing we are looking into MAC address part. Now go to cells and say so interface E0. And this is for cells. Oh. So this is for cells. Same was for mark. Same was for mark. Okay. Just a minute, guys. This previous command that I had executed, once again, I'll just copy and paste it. This was testing, and this is about MAC address. Now, you see here, cells has same MAC address, 0001. Here, mark also has same MAC address. Now, go to change to context system. So interface E0. Here also it shows you same MAC address. So this is my system context MAC address. See, in a system context, having this MAC address is fine. But here, two interfaces having two different, having a same IP, but same MAC address, but two different IPs. Here we have two different IPs, right? In a mark, right? In a cells, here I have IP 10.0.1.10. And in a mark at the firewall, I have IP 10.0.2.10. 2.10. Now see what is the problem over here. As per the switch, switch will be confused at ARP label. Okay, at ARP label it will be confused that with this MAC address, should I save this IP or this IP? And with this confusion, what will happen? If you inspect ICMP on ASA, if you say fix up, let's say if I go to change to context cells, and let me give fix up command, fix up protocol ICMP. I allowed it ICMP. Now, when I'll try to ping R1 to DMZ, go to R1 and try to ping DMZ, go to R1 and ping DMZ 192.168.30.3 from inside to DMZ when I'm trying to ping. See, it's not pinging. It's not working because your switch is confused with the MAC address, right? They have a confusion. I have same MAC address with the two different IPs. Where should I reach? Which interface should I go? So this type of confusion your ASA will have when you share the same interface with the two different interfaces. With the two different contexts. This is what the confusion will be. So for this, what we can do, go to change to system context and give a command MAC address auto. So history, give this MAC address auto command. So to fix this issue, in a system context, we'll give MAC address auto. Now, what will happen with this? Understand. One minute, guys. Guys, just be on hold. Actually, today is my son's birthday. Okay, so they are calling often and often. Just give me a minute.
सर मेरे तरफ से विश कर रहा हूँ हैप्पी बर्थडे मेनी मेनी हैप्पी रिटर्न्स ऑफ द डे
Thank you.
गॉड ब्लेस यू बेटा थैंक यू सर
Thank you.
So you said I said happy birthday also.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
No, happy birthday, Sushil.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay, so now this is done. As a result, what will happen? Change to context cells. So interface E0 now, if you see. Now you see prefix has been added. Now what happened with this particular command? MAC address of cells got changed. Change to context mark. So interface E0, and if you see MAC address of mark also got changed. If you see here, there is a difference. At the last we have 4, here we have a 2. And most of the time when candidates are not aware of this condition, right, they actually lose the configuration. They get stuck at this particular part. Okay, so change to system and give a write mem all command. Right now, if you try to ping right now your switch has clear cut information that okay, this IP, this MAC address, this IP, this MAC address. So if you go to R1 and if you ping now, you can easily ping R3, which is inside to DMZ. That's working fine. So this was overall multi-contexting part, guys. Okay, practice well because this is one of the most important topic that comes in your CCIE lab exam. Okay. Guys, I'll upload this video and this notepad file which will help you to do a configuration. I'm expecting from you guys to complete all these labs. Okay. Tomorrow we'll see another topic. We'll start HA. Okay, we'll see interface level redundancy. Sorry. Talking to me?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Don't forget to share us this picture for logically.
Yeah, everything. I have created a separate folder itself. There I'll upload everything. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.